Welcome to Flux Pill. Your heart is slamming against your chest so hard you can feel it in your throat. Your hands are shaking. Your vision has narrowed to a tunnel. Your mouth has gone completely dry. Your legs feel like they might give out beneath you. And somewhere in the back of your mind a voice is screaming at you to run, to move, to do something. Right now. Immediately. You are not sick. You are not dying. Although in this moment every single signal your body is sending you feels exactly like dying. This is fear. Real fear. The kind that takes over your entire body without asking permission. The kind that bypasses every rational thought you have ever had and reduces you in seconds to pure animal instinct. And what is happening inside you during those moments is one of the most extraordinary biological events the human body is capable of producing. It is faster than conscious thought. It is more powerful than almost any other physiological state. It involves your brain, your nervous system, your hormones, your cardiovascular system, your muscles, your digestive system, and your immune system, all changing simultaneously in ways that have been refined over hundreds of millions of years of evolution. Today we are going all the way inside, into the brain, into the bloodstream, into the cells. We are going to walk through exactly what happens inside your body during extreme fear. From the first millisecond your brain detects a threat to the full cascade of biological events that follows. And by the time this video is done, you will never experience fear the same way again. Because understanding what your body is doing and why changes everything. Let's go. It starts before you are even consciously aware that anything is wrong. You are walking. You are sitting. You are going about your day. And then something happens. A sound. A movement in your peripheral vision. A shadow. A face. A sensation. Something in your environment changes, and your brain catches it before your conscious mind has any idea what is going on. The sensory information, whatever you heard or saw or felt, travels from your sensory organs into your brain along neural pathways. And here is where the first extraordinary thing happens. That information does not go immediately to the thinking part of your brain, the cortex, the rational reasoning part that would analyze the situation and make a calm, logical decision about how to respond. That pathway would take too long. In a world where the threat might be a predator about to close the distance between you in less than a second, waiting for rational analysis is a death sentence. Instead, the sensory information takes a shortcut, a faster, lower pathway that goes directly to a small, almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain, the amygdala. The amygdala is the fear center of the brain. It is one of the most ancient structures in the human brain. It predates the cortex by hundreds of millions of years, and its entire job is threat detection and threat response. It is the part of your brain that evolved when your ancestors needed to respond to predators faster than they could think. The amygdala receives the incoming sensory signal and does something that happens in literally milliseconds. It compares the incoming information to everything stored in its threat library, every previous experience of danger, every learned association with threat, every instinctive fear response your biology inherited from millions of years of evolution. And if there is a match, or even a partial match, if the incoming information is close enough to something threatening, the amygdala does not wait for confirmation. It fires. This is called the low road of fear processing, the fast route. The signal goes amygdala, response, before the thinking brain has even received the information. This is why you flinch before you know what you flinched at, why you jump before you know what startled you. The amygdala has already responded before you are consciously aware there was anything to respond to. And the moment the amygdala fires, everything changes. The amygdala sends an emergency signal to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the command center of the brain's autonomic nervous system, the system that controls all the things your body does automatically without conscious instruction. Heart rate, breathing, digestion, blood vessel dilation and constriction. The hypothalamus receives the amygdala's alarm signal and immediately activates the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is one half of your autonomic nervous system. Its counterpart is the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, the one that runs your body when you are calm and safe. The sympathetic nervous system is the opposite. It is the fight or flight system, and when it activates everywhere, simultaneously, all at once. Within milliseconds of the amygdala firing, nerve signals are traveling down your spinal cord and branching out to every major organ in your body. Your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, your digestive system, your sweat glands, your pupils, all of them receiving the same message at essentially the same time. Emergency. Prepare for maximum physical output, survival mode. Now, and simultaneously, the hypothalamus triggers the adrenal glands sitting on top of your kidneys to release the most famous chemical in the fear response: adrenaline, also called epinephrine, the hormone that has become synonymous with excitement and danger for a reason. Adrenaline enters your bloodstream and begins a cascade of effects that transforms your body within seconds. Your heart rate accelerates dramatically. Resting heart rate might be 60 to 70 beats per minute. During extreme fear, it can reach 180, 200 beats per minute or beyond in severe cases. The heart is not just beating faster, it is beating harder. More force per contraction, more blood pushed out with every beat. Your blood vessels undergo a dramatic redistribution. The vessels supplying your digestive organs, your skin, your extremities, constrict. Blood is pulled away from systems that are not immediately critical for survival. And simultaneously, the vessels supplying your major muscle groups, your legs, your arms, your core, dilate. They open up. They accept massive increased blood flow. Your muscles are being flooded with oxygenated blood in preparation for intense physical action. This is why your face can go pale during extreme fear. The blood has been pulled away from your skin surface toward your muscles. This is why your hands and feet can feel cold. Peripheral circulation has been reduced. Your body has made a ruthless priority decision. Your quadriceps matter more than your fingers right now. Your ability to run or fight matters more than your ability to feel warm. Your lungs are changing at the same time. Your airways dilate. The bronchi open wider to allow maximum airflow. Your breathing rate increases. Your body is trying to get as much oxygen into the bloodstream as possible, as fast as possible, because your muscles are about to need it. Each breath is larger and more rapid. The oxygen is being delivered at maximum rate to the blood, which is delivering it at maximum rate to the muscles. Your liver receives a signal to begin releasing stored glucose into the bloodstream. Your muscles need fuel for the physical exertion that the body is anticipating. Glycogen stored in the liver is being converted to glucose and pumped into the blood. You are flooding your system with fuel at the same time as you are flooding it with oxygen. Everything is being made ready for maximum physical output. Your pupils dilate, wide as they can get. The visual field needs to be maximized. Every possible photon of light needs to be captured. You need to see as much as possible. See every exit. See every threat. See every possible movement in your environment. This is why everything seems hyper-vivid during extreme fear. Your eyes have just gone to maximum aperture, and your brain is processing visual information with enormous urgency. Your sweat glands activate. You begin sweating immediately. Not the slow build of exertion sweat. Immediate cold sweat appearing on your skin within seconds. This serves multiple purposes. It helps regulate body temperature as your metabolism suddenly spikes. And there is evolutionary evidence that the specific chemical composition of fear sweat may actually communicate threat information to other humans nearby. Your sweat is a social alarm signal. Now, while all of this is happening in the first few seconds, a second hormonal wave is being prepared. The hypothalamus activates the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This triggers the pituitary gland to release a hormone that signals the adrenal glands to release a second and longer-lasting stress hormone, cortisol. If adrenaline is the emergency flare, the immediate explosive response, cortisol, is the sustained fuel supply. It keeps the stress response going. It continues the glucose release from the liver. It suppresses the immune system to free up metabolic resources for the immediate survival crisis. It increases the availability of the substances that repair tissue in case of injury. It sharpens certain types of memory formation. And it keeps your arousal and alertness elevated for far longer than adrenaline alone could sustain. This is why, after a severely frightening experience, you do not just calm down immediately. The cortisol keeps you elevated, keeps you on alert, keeps your heart rate somewhat elevated, and your senses sharp for minutes or even hours after the initial threat has passed. Your body does not trust that the danger is truly over, and it is keeping you ready just in case. Now let's talk about what happens to your thinking during extreme fear, because this is where the biology gets both fascinating and frightening in its own right. When the amygdala fires and the sympathetic nervous system activates, blood flow is also redirected in the brain itself. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making, planning, impulse control, and complex reasoning, experiences reduced blood flow. The amygdala and the survival systems get priority. The thinking brain is effectively partially taken offline. This is not a small effect. Research has shown that during extreme fear, states' cognitive function changes measurably. The ability to think through complex scenarios, to consider consequences, to make nuanced decisions, is significantly impaired. This is why people in genuine extreme fear situations sometimes make decisions that seem irrational from the outside. The brain circuitry responsible for rational decision-making is running on reduced resources because the amygdala has taken priority over everything. Time perception changes dramatically during extreme fear. Many people who have been through genuinely life-threatening situations report that time seemed to slow down significantly. Seconds felt like minutes. Details seemed hyperclear and sharp. This is the result of the brain entering a state of dramatically elevated sensory processing. More information is being recorded per second. More detail is being captured. And when we replay those memories later, the density of detail creates the subjective impression that time was moving more slowly. Pain perception is suppressed during extreme fear through the release of endogenous opioids, including endorphins. This is an extraordinarily important survival mechanism. If you are injured during an encounter with a threat, pain that would normally stop you in your tracks is suppressed, so that you can continue fighting or fleeing. Soldiers have reported not noticing significant wounds during combat until after the engagement ended. The fear response includes a built-in anesthetic. Your immune system changes too in ways that seem counterintuitive. In the short term, extreme fear actually temporarily boosts certain aspects of immune function. The body prepares for the possibility of injury and infection by enhancing the inflammatory response and mobilizing certain immune cells. But if the cortisol stress response is sustained for too long, over hours and days and weeks, as happens in chronic stress and anxiety disorders, it flips and becomes immunosuppressive. The same system that protects you in acute fear damages you in chronic fear. And then there is the freeze response, because the fight or flight framing misses something critical. Sometimes the response to extreme fear is neither fighting nor fleeing. Sometimes it is complete paralysis, freezing, being unable to move at all. This is not weakness. This is not a failure of courage. This is a third biological survival strategy that evolved alongside fight and flight. Freezing serves multiple purposes. Many predators in nature have motion-sensitive visual systems. Staying absolutely still can make a prey animal effectively invisible. Freezing also allows a split second of information gathering before committing to a direction of escape. And in situations where neither fighting nor fleeing is possible or safe, freezing and playing dead has been a survival strategy for hundreds of millions of years. The freeze response involves a different branch of the nervous system. The parasympathetic system can actually activate dramatically during extreme fear, in certain circumstances, creating what researchers call the immobility response. Heart rate can plummet, breathing can slow. The person feels unable to move, unable to speak, sometimes experiencing a dissociative, floating sensation. This is not the body shutting down. It is the body making a survival calculation and choosing the ancient strategy of stillness. After the threat passes, or is perceived to have passed, the recovery process begins. Adrenaline clears from the bloodstream relatively quickly. Heart rate begins to fall. Breathing slows. The shaking that many people experience after extreme fear is the muscles releasing the tension they built up during the response. The trembling is excess physiological activation working its way out of the system. But the cortisol lingers. And the memory of the fear is being encoded in the amygdala with extraordinary strength. Fear memories are among the strongest and most durable memories the human brain produces. The amygdala prioritizes the storage of threatening experiences precisely, so they can be recognized faster next time. This is why a single, genuinely terrifying experience can create a lasting fear response to the stimuli associated with it. The brain has learned at a biological level. It has updated its threat library, and it has made sure it will never be caught off guard by that particular threat again. This is the full biology of fear. Not weakness, not irrationality, not something to be ashamed of. A system built over hundreds of millions of years and refined by every ancestor who lived long enough to pass their genes forward. A system so effective that it fires faster than thought, protects you before you know you need protection, and remembers danger so precisely that it will recognize it again in milliseconds. The next time fear takes over your body without asking permission, remember what is actually happening. Every cell is working. Every system is responding. Your body is doing exactly what it was built over hundreds of millions of years to do. It is trying to keep you alive.